Can a tech titan worth nearly $4 trillion lose its supremacy when four key engineers walk out the door? Alphabet lost 5% of its market value in one single afternoon after Jeff Dean and his core team resigned. Meanwhile, capital expenditures are projected to hit $200 billion this year, even as internal reports show that Gemini 3.5 Pro is months behind schedule. Is Google collapsing under its own massive weight, or are we watching the setup for the biggest comeback in software history? See, four of Google's most important AI builders walked out the door after decades of work. The stock dropped 5% the same week. Sergey Brin, one of the co-founders, worth roughly $240 billion, is back at the office 3 to 4 days a week writing code himself. Google invented the Transformer and built a working chatbot a full year before ChatGPT shipped. Tens of thousands of their own people used it and liked it. Leadership still killed the launch because they were worried that it might hurt their search, which is their big money maker. So here's the real question. Does that kind of history mean that Google is finished in AI, or does the return of a founder who still knows how to ship change the entire timeline? I have a prediction here. Let's take a look at this. This is a crazy story we're seeing unfold in real time. Let's dive into it today. Welcome to Startup Pack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Pack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I help transform tech teams and products, including building out custom AI solutions. So that sudden 5% stock drop wiped out billions because the four developers who built the foundation of modern artificial intelligence walked out to launch their own venture. Wall Street panicked, but looking at the full picture reveals a wild narrative developing behind closed doors. Google just went through its biggest AI leadership shakeup in years. The people who built the foundations are leaving. A co-founder is back in the product room. That combination tells a story most coverage is missing. Now, as always, when real talent exits are real, the founder urgency is real. The next 12 months will look messy for Google. The longer horizon looks different once you factor in data, compute, and what it actually takes to put AI inside of working software. Now, also, if you want to continue to learn about the latest trends in AI and news, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help. Also, make sure you drop your thoughts in the comments down below because I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Is Google losing, or are they just staging for a massive comeback? See, Jeff Dean spent 25 years at Mountain View before departing to launch Discovery Loop alongside of his three senior colleagues. Now, Alphabet shares tumbled 5% immediately following the departure of these research leaders. Now, Hasibas transitioned into a strategic chair position to help stabilize internal team morale during the transition. Industry reports indicate internal conflict between pure research labs and commercial product teams created this mounting friction. Now, losing the architects behind MapReduce and TensorFlow leaves a massive void in technical leadership. So development scheduled for Gemini 3.5 Pro faced months of delays due to internal operation friction. See, this is teaching us how hard it is to build AI into actual software. See, because different than just OpenAI and Anthropic, who are just worried about building this, Google's building AI that they're working into all of their products, into Gmail, into Maps, into everything. Writing AI into software is difficult, but that's where AI is going to launch. It's going to continue to niche down. We've been talking about this for a while here on the channel. Now, projected capital spending reached $200 billion, while product deployment struggled to maintain the momentum. DeepMind, which is the lab inside of Google, DeepMind researchers expressed growing pushback against pressure from Mountain View product managers. Big technology companies often struggle with shipping velocity when organizational layers slow down decision-making. Heavy financial investment yields diminished returns whenever bureaucratic processes stall the developer's release. So, competing frontier labs move faster because their organizational structures remain lean. So let's talk about this. Anthropic and OpenAI, they're moving quick. They're shipping stuff fast. Google has layers and layers of red tape. They're a company that's now been around for over 20 years. Google's engineers built a fully functional conversation assistant named LM Chat over a year before ChatGPT launched. Tens of thousands of internal employees used LM Chat daily with enthusiastic feedback across the departments. See, this is where they took the Transformer technology and they built this internal tool. Executive leaderships blocked public deployment because they were worried it would damage their traditional search ad revenue. Now, brand safety concerns caused executives to freeze software releases that could have dominated early on. They could have beat ChatGPT, and we're going to hear it from Sam's own mouth. Protecting existing revenue streams often prevent major corporations from shipping new products first. Corporate hesitation allowed nimble competitors to capture mindshare and define the conversational market. Now, co-founder Sergey Brin returned to active duty, working directly alongside with the engineering team in Mountain View. Brin sits with the developers multiple days a week, reviewing loss curves and committing code directly to repositories. Direct founder intervention removes intermediate management layers, and he's right down in the weeds with the employees. So DeepMind leadership relocated key engineers right next to Brin to streamline model optimization efforts. Having this co-founder writing code signals an intense focus across the entire organization. This feels like one of those code red things. We haven't heard the term code red from him, but it feels like one of those events. Bureaucracy evaporates when the company co-founder personally drives the product roadmap. Now, let's jump into some articles here. So this is actually Scam Altman himself admitting that they shouldn't have gotten even close. Google's fumbling of an AI entirely due to Sundar's inept management. That's this person's opinion. I'm staying neutral here on this one. And inability to retain top AI talent. Sam Altman said, we shouldn't have really gotten to exist. Google should have just run away with it. And what he's referencing, though, is this original LM chat should have gone to market before ChatGPT. See, Jeff Dean explained that Google built a ChatGPT-style chatbot roughly a year before OpenAI released theirs. Tens of thousands of Google employees were already using it and loved it. Leadership still killed any public launch because what if people stop searching on Google? What if it says inaccurate or bad things? Which is kind of what's happened over the last few years. Google invented the transformer architecture and still threw away the first mover advantage for nothing. Innovator's dilemma at its finest. All right, Sergey Brin reportedly takes direct oversight of Gemini as Google restructures its AI leadership. And this person, this poster says, this makes me extremely bullish on Google. Sergey should take even more control. Google's biggest constraint is org velocity bureaucracy. So there's a lot of people already comparing Google to being the new IBM, which we know IBM is like, the slow mover, right? Also would not be shocked if Sergey starts posting on X. Everybody does. Sergey Brin is the third richest person alive, worth roughly $240 billion, and he just took direct command of Gemini. He retired in 2019, owns around 6% of the $4 trillion company, could spend the next 40 years on a yacht without ever checking a price tag. Instead, he's at the office 3 to 4 days a week, in the weeds writing code. Hasiba confirmed himself this year. Sergey has been in the weeds programming. The last time Brin was this hands-on, Google was running out of a garage in Menlo Park. And he fits a pattern. Zuck went founders mode on AI and reorganized all of Meta. Elon started XAI from scratch. Now Brin at 52 is personally running the model that decides whether Google wins the next 20 years. That tells you everything about the size of the price. Smartphones, clouds, crypto, none of it pulled a retired founder back into product team. AI did in under 2 years. A $240 billion man just gave himself a job. The AI war is fully on. All right, Pathfounders have learned from industry sources that Hasiba wanted to leave at the same time as Dean, but Google management felt the news could cause a collapse in the share price. Indeed, Google stock dropped 5%. Hasiba was persuaded to bump up or down to the chair role, allowing the organization to settle for a while until he can exit in a dignified manner. A year that will live in infamy for Google. Jeff Dean left. Look at all these names of these guys that are leaving. Just a huge list of some crazy big talent, right? Remarkable people leave great companies sometimes. Carpathy left Tesla along with many others. So is Tesla the next IBM? They're trying to call out here that this does happen. All right, the bearishness on Google is super dumb. And then this is actually kind of where I'm going with this here, right? Sundar confirmed the latest AEC that they are going to stay on the frontier and increase cadence of model releases to monthly. Confirmed Gemini 4 is in training. Brin is back and locked in. DeepMind CTO sitting next to Brin. Larry Page said he'd rather go bankrupt than lose the race to AGI. Warren Buffett invested $11 billion in Q1 and an additional $11 billion in June. So, what do you think happens next? Now, Google just lost the 4 engineers, right? We talked a little bit about this. Then he steps in. His public statement said AGI feels close at hand. He's now where he is where it gets interesting. Brin stepped into direct oversight. When a co-founder who helped build the internet comes back and personally takes over the most important product of the company, that's not a routine structure. That's a founder saying the house is on fire and I need to be in the room. Every signal points the same direction. The research-first culture that made DeepMind legendary is being overridden by commercial urgency. The London Research Lab is losing influential Mountain View product teams. The people who built the science are leaving. The people who ship products are taking over. So that's the thing here, is they're working on integrating it in, and that's what's taken over. Google is simultaneously losing its deepest technical minds So Google is simultaneously losing its deepest technical minds and betting everything on speed and commercialization. That is either the most confident move in tech or the most desperate one. This guy says probably both. Now, the thing that's interesting about this that I kind of want to talk about here is your Google. You should have won. One, they actually do have first mover. What this has given them, though, is that they actually have control over TPU hardware infrastructure that grants them immense compute advantages over their rivals. Now, we are still hearing from some internal employees that they are compute restrained. But Gemini has reached over 950 million monthly active users across integrated consumer products. Don't believe me? They're counting search. They're counting the Gemini in Gmail. They're counting like in all the products in Docs. Warren Buffett added $22 billion in his Alphabet holdings directly during the quarters this year. Proprietary data pipelines give Mountain View training resources that independent model builders cannot match. Think about that for a minute. Think what Anthropic and OpenAI and these others have to do to go and try to get data. Who has more data than Google? I cannot think of anybody who has more data than Google. That proprietary data is there. Think of the financial reserves that allows the company to absorb short-term talent losses while scaling massive model deployments. The enterprise market ultimately rewards companies capable of supporting heavy compute and infrastructure, and I cannot think of anybody who's been dominating this more for more than 2 decades than Google. Raw language model APIs fail to solve complex business problems without robust software architecture frameworks. But in my years of development, I've seen the engineering team spend immense resources attempting to build reliable execution layers. And right now, nobody has more compute than Google. And especially when you start to factor in the amount of TPU usage they have. So long-term software utility depends on building structured harnesses around these models. Now, why am I talking about that? Because building compute is something that everybody has to do. See, right now, so many people are renting their compute. They're renting their intelligence. See, here at Startup Hack, that's the reason why we built Open Mono Agent. It's because we understand that right now the power is in the harness, but we don't want to be shipping our data off to these black boxes and just giving them everything. So we built something that you could put onto a harness like this. You could put it into this, actually runs the inference, the harness, everything. So Open Mono Agent gives you the ability to build that locally. And see, that's what we're doing here. It's because we want to make sure that you have the ability to take a machine like one of these ones over my shoulder, and you can stand up intelligence in your own system. You can then build software around it. Open Mono Agent makes it easy and trivial for you to build software around it. See, the principles that we've seen from Google, because those principles around capturing the data. See, Google's been a data hog for over 2 decades. They've hogged every bit of data. Even as they take data that they can't keep, they anonymize it, and they're keeping it. That's part of the reason why we built web search, image capabilities, and all of those into Open Mono Agent, so we could try to allow you to be able to capture and use all of your data. So the thing about it is sustainable business values come from integrating smart execution tools directly into the core enterprise workflow. Building customized AI solutions requires deep software expertise to complement the raw compute. So what I'm predicting here is I think Google is going to stay around. Yes, right now their models have been stinky for the last little while, but just remember last November, the Gemini moment that scared everybody and ended up kicking Anthropic and OpenAI into overtime. It was Google that did this. I think we're going to see it again. I think we're going to see Google come out on top of this because they have the money, they have the data, they have the compute. And when somebody like Sergey Brin comes in, and when somebody like Larry Page says he's willing to go bankrupt over it, when some of the richest, most powerful people on the planet say they're willing to bet everything, I don't see them losing. Now, they do have an uphill battle. Google's a large corporation. There's a lot of people criticizing their CEO at this point. A lot of tough times in front of them for Google, but I think Google has a chance to pull this off. Now, curious to hear what you guys think. As always, make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Here at Startup Hack, we love to build custom software solutions for folks. And if you haven't gone and signed up for the free giveaway for the Open Mono Agent inference box, this box right here, we're going to be giving it away. Make sure you go and sign up because we're doing a free giveaway here. So check out openmonoagent.ai. And if we can help your company build custom software solution, here's some great information about our services. Most companies don't have a technology problem. They have a leadership problem, and they're paying for it in missed deadlines, failed integrations, and AI investments that deliver nothing. I'm Spencer Thomason, fractional CTO and founder of Startup Hack. 25 years building real software long before AI was a buzzword. A decade in executive leadership as organizations like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo. And enough founders experience to know that bad technology decisions don't just waste money, they kill companies. Here's what I've learned. The businesses winning right now aren't the ones chasing the latest AI trends. They're the ones who built on solid engineering and treated AI as infrastructure they own, control, and integrate into software that actually works. That's exactly what my team here at Startup Hack delivers. We're a real custom software development team, database architecture, API design, system integration, scalable infrastructure, built the right way, the way that it's been done for over 25 years. And when AI does belong in a solution, we build it in, not bolt it on, not a wrapper around someone else's API. We design it into the architecture running in your environment, not a vendor's cloud and not on someone else's pricing schedule. We've proven that this model works. We've built an open source platform called OpenMonoAgent.ai, and it's a terminal native AI coding agent running entirely on local LLMs. Zero API costs, zero telemetry, full ownership. It's growing fast because serious engineers recognize real infrastructure when they see it. Now, as your fractional CTO, you get the same standard of leadership without the full-time executive cost. Strategic architecture, hands-on delivery, clear accountability, no slide decks that gather dust. We also run a state-recognized software apprenticeship program to develop and place capable engineering talent. We also run a fast-growing YouTube channel delivering no-nonsense technology insights to business leaders who are tired of being sold vaporware. If your organization is ready for custom software built to last with AI integrated where it actually makes sense, let's talk. Check out startuphack.com. Technology leadership, AI as true infrastructure, real